Hello world, this is Dolphin Doug. Today we're gonna go for a hike. I'm starting at the parking lot at the Mendenhall Glacier Visitor Center. How you doing?
Good.
That's the Mendenhall Glacier. If you're coming up to Alaska, you probably hope to see glaciers. This is one of the easiest ones to come and see. It's hard to touch, very hard. But that's possible too, but not on this hike. Today we're hiking out to Nugget Falls. If you're coming in on a cruise ship and you're not taking a helicopter and you're not taking an extreme hiking trip, this hike is the closest you can get to the glacier. A lot of you want to do it. Hi.
Hi.
You want to do this hike because it feels right. I am hiking from that parking lot towards the glacier, and I can only go so far. Now, if I'd taken that left turn, I'd get to Photo Point. 40 years ago, 50 years ago, that was a fantastic way to see the glacier. When they built the visitor center, the ice was almost to this point. But it's been receding back ever since. And now Photo Point, while it's quite nice and quite busy, and I would highly recommend it, it's got beautiful rocks, prettier than these. It's still a long ways from the glacier. This trail, some people have heard of this, and so they say, "Oh, when I go to the Mendenhall Glacier, I want to go walk to the Nugget Falls." Well, you certainly can. However, this is not your only option. You've got the Mendenhall Glacier Visitor Center, which we breezed right by. You gotta love the rocks. These are all the rocks that have been pulled out of the mountainside from this glacier. An incredible variety, because these rocks can be pulled back miles and miles upstream in the glacier, because the Mendenhall Glacier extends, I believe, something like 11 miles. And it's going through a uplift zone, so there's a great variety in the rocks that are underneath. It's not just something simple like a granitic uplift like in the Rockies, where all of the overburden's been washed off and you just got that great big plug in the middle that's all the same. No, this is very, very different. Across that pond, that's Photo Point Trail. Very, very nice. Highly recommend it. Easy. Quarter-mile long from the start. You see that water that we were just looking at? It doesn't have the glacial silt in it. Here we go. I'm on the trail to Nugget Falls, and I could go either way. That is the old way, the local way. This is obviously the new way. Now, you might say, oh, I like the path less traveled in the woods. And you get to a spot like this and you realize there's a reason it's less traveled. I love this trail. I came here before the big trail was here many times. And my kids have come running across this creek. We love this thing. And I'm wearing my extra toughs. But today I'm going to take the trail that you're going to take. Now you can see at the end of this video, notice how long it takes. I'm not going fast. But my goal is to get out there in about 15 minutes. Now for you, you're going to have a harder time. I'm making little stops, but I know this trail, and I know what I'm seeing. Everything is familiar. Most of the tours that come out to the Mendenhall Glacier give you about an hour stop here because your day in Juneau is quite tight if you're on a cruise ship. If you're coming in independently, park your car and stay as long as you like. But on the cruise ships, you got to get back, and there are probably other things you want to do. I just love these little creeks. These are clear running creeks. You could have spawning fish in them, although this one's a little bit small. I haven't heard of any fish in that. You see the clear water beside the path. This is all, I'm pointing this out to you because when we get up to the lake, you'll see the glacial silt. Now, we've got flooding issues. This weather we're looking at is completely typical of Southeast Alaska year-round. Now, it's 36 degrees today. It's the latter part of October. But this is, other than the fact that it's colder, you can get weather like this any time of the year. Now, this flooding is a little unusual. And what that says to me is we've had a lot of rain, and we might have had some busy beaver around here, although I didn't see evidence of it. Forest Service is constantly fighting against beaver who want to flood everything. Not in a bad way. We're not going to see a beaver on this trail. This is not great beaver country, though it could be. I'd like to see a porcupine is what I'd like to see. That would make my day. If you're worried about bears, don't bring food. If you bring anything to drink, make sure it's not flavored. And enjoy your walk and do like I'm doing. I'm talking while walking. I'm not talking loud. This is all the bears need to know that it's me walking along here. Now, when we get out to the end of this trail, we're going to get to Nugget Falls. Nugget Falls used to disappear down inside the glacier, but the glacier's receded back way past the falls. We're not going to get much in the way of a conversation at the end of this video. I'm going to take you out to the glacier. We're going to look around. You're going to see the glacial silt in the lake, maybe some icebergs up close, but it's loud, loud, loud. When you come up here and visit, and it seems like just a magical thing, and waterfalls are magical, they're also really loud. Your brain doesn't operate very well when you're exposed to that noise, constant roaring in the background. You'll enjoy it. I mean, it's not like it's that loud or anything, but I don't know if you noticed this when you went to Niagara Falls or any other waterfall. That noise, it's wonderful to visit. It feels like power. And when you leave, you suddenly realize you can think again. So, beautiful, easy trail. The whole trail is like this. Just a couple of slightly steeper spots. It's more the distance that matters. And watching the time on your clock. Because if you've got an hour out here, and you're walking like and I walk a little faster than most people, but only a little bit, you got to race out and back so that you're early for the bus, just in case something interesting comes along on the way back. You never want to be out on this trail with 15 minutes to go. I've driven my share of buses, and I've had families freaked out because one of their family members out here, and the cell phone coverage isn't all that good. Now, see, when you get out here, wow, this is called slick and slides. The glacier moved that way. And this is actually really good traction, but I did not trust it. If you don't have good shoes, don't do this. But heck, if you do have good shoes and you've got kids, this is how my kids, I raised them walking on this stuff. This is just nice. Come out here and see how far you can go before you have to go back in the brush. You don't want to go beating around in the brush out there. But if you come up to places like this, you get cool views of the glacier. 11 miles long or something like that up there. Coming down and just the tiniest little tongue getting into the lake, and then a bunch of icebergs. Bunch of icebergs. Okay, and then you got wet spots out there. I thought about taking the hard way to, and it's just nice. Now, something else to look at. Look at the snow on the mountains. A week ago, I was showing termination dust. That mountain got the first fresh snowfall of the year. There was no white whatsoever on that mountain except for a tiny little spot. Shoot, I mean, as big as these remaining leaves on the tree up at the very top of that 4,200 foot mountain. That's Mount McGinnis. Now the glacier has always been there. It's always been full of ice, but the snow has been coming down this last week. It's 36 degrees now here at sea level. It's raining. It's definitely rain. There's no ice component to this. This is really good traction. I don't trust this stuff at all. And so I'm testing it, and it is really good. And there's a whole lots of slimy stuff around here. So if you go trekking around anywhere off the beaten path, that's to me is a beaten path. But anywhere else, expect it to slime up, and you're going to go down hard. The rocks are hard. So the snow's been coming down. That's what happens this time of year. It's really hard, I realize, for people to videotape that because it seems so boring. Let's go back. I don't want that. I'm trying to show you just the general sense. COVID. Nah, look at this. Dead end path. Have no idea what this whole thing's about. Don't care. Now, if I was... Oh, this is glorious. Look at this. Look at this. This is sphagnum moss. You can buy it for your garden. It's not spiky at all. The spikes are too weak for my skin, but it's just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, these big rocks, these things were carried out of the mountain by the glacier, as were the vast majority of these. They get rolled around into underneath, and it's rock on rock damage that rounds them up. Same thing that happens on a creek, but at a much larger scale. Hey, Pooch. Yeah. That's it? That's all I get? At least there are no salmon. Dogs. Gotta have a dog out here. And off leash. Hear the noise? It's beautiful, but you're gonna be doing this walk anyway, so I don't need to show you the highlights. So glacial erratics, a lot of these have been moved around because the Forest Service came out here and had to make a trail. They get pulled out by the ice and dropped where they shouldn't be. Clearly, they didn't get moved there by a person. They didn't get moved there by a rutting elk. They didn't get moved there by a glacial stream, and they sure didn't get moved there from the mountain, although these look like they could, but they're too rounded. They get dropped all over the place in glacier country, and eventually they get covered up. A place like Iowa, just Minnesota, let's say, full of glaciers, didn't work that way because they got covered up with dirt afterwards. But out here, no dirt, lots of glacial erratics. Beautiful stuff. People love to get these things and stick them in their yards. So locals with a dog out here on a day like today, this is what you should expect. Dress for it. I'm used to it. It's 36 degrees. It's been summer. It was 50 degrees in the summer, and 50 degrees is plenty warm enough for you guys, plenty warm enough for all of us. But you're going to want a jacket. Now look, I've just got a light little jacket. It's not a raincoat. If you want to bring a poncho, please, by all means do. I have the key ingredient. It's my hat. right? So to me, it's not really raining on me. It's just raining everywhere else nearby. Bring yourself a big hat with a big brim that's waterproof and enjoy it. Now, this hat is actually not waterproof. I've been out in the rain lots of times. It starts dripping around right around the seam at the inside. You don't need to worry about a waterproof hat. If you got one, bring it. If you don't, bring the hat that you like. Now, if you just got something that's like a Mexican thing that's got a bunch of holes in it, you know, designed to, that's a sunshade. I don't think we need to worry too much about that. So, it's getting loud. This is the trail. It's taken me 15 minutes so far. I'm not going slow, but I'm not at the end either. You can hear the roar of the waterfall. You can make this in an hour, no problem. You got to be quick movers. If grandma walks a couple miles every day, no problem. I brought my grandma's. I mean, that's easy. But you can't dawdle. And you guys know if you're and this is interesting. These leaves, there's something going on there. I'm guessing there was water running across here, but it doesn't make sense off on the side. That's the second path of these leaves I've seen. It looks like a water stain mark from something. I don't know. Look, more. Nice and clean in between. Did it just pour down so much rain that the rain, it flowed? It doesn't look like a place that's flowing. But again, loving the conversation. Not trying to make this last forever. I'm trying to get you up to this waterfall with a time crunch. So that, God, these leaves are interesting, huh? So if you want to take the other trail, okay, main trail, right? This is what we've been doing. The other one comes across here, and yeah, there's some stuff you don't want to. I'm not showing this to you. You're going to be wading across water. I probably will videotape that back. Howdy, howdy. Oh, I got to see a unicorn. That's good. Oh boy. The lake's edge is right through these. There's a beach there. But the lake is really high because it's been raining, and the water goes right through the glacier, melts some of the ice, comes out of it at 32.1 degrees, and flows. Now it's a beautiful rock. Take a picture beside this rock. I need to tell you the story of Romeo, but I'll have to do that on a different video. He's really there. Romeo, the spirit of Juneau's friendly black wolf, lives on in this wild place. Romeo is a beautiful story. Look for another video on him. He's a famous former Alaskan resident. All right, we're almost there. A couple of people out at the glacier or at the overlook. I'm gonna look around a little bit. When you get here, you should touch the water from the Nugget Falls. It's really loud, it's really windy, and it would be getting my camera lens all wet, so I'm not going over that way. But if you walk up close to it, the spray is just inspiring. Photos, wonderful. It's the little close photos, and when you do them, make sure you got family members in them. It's the people in the place that matters. You know, properly done, I'd be holding a selfie stick up here and showing you me as I watch, but you don't care that much about me. What you want to see is this place. And again, I'm looking at that time limit. I've been dawdling a little bit. I've been chatting just the tiniest bit, slowing down. If you've got slow movers in your party, you're not going to make it. Don't go for it. Little observation spot up top there. I'm not going that way just because we're short on time. And here we go. There's Nugget Falls. Got one person out there. Forest Service had to cut notch this rock because they wanted the trail not to be in the lake. This trail here, they've had to build up. It used to be not as good. And when the water is full, at the highest level, it's eroding out this trail. This whole thing floods right up to the rock. Oh, smear of water up there. That's a nice climb in the wintertime when it forms up. Good spot for kids. Great place to let them stretch their legs. Not a problem. There are kids out here all the time, local kids. My kids all climb on this rock every single time they come out here. You got to decide what you want to do. We used to climb up that slope. It's getting kind of boring. But yeah, that's Nugget Falls. And you notice the view of the glacier is much, much worse here. But it makes you feel good to have made it this far. The water coming out of the Nugget Falls is clear because there's very little glacier, if anything, up Nugget Falls. There used to be. The lake water is this murky, this is glacial silt. Still just as clean and pure, except it's got a silt scum in it. You can drink it, no problem. Hard on fish. There you go. Nugget Falls, October, coming up. Stay warm and dry, and I hope you have extra tufts. It took me 21 minutes, so you could do this and turn around, spend 2 minutes here, and you'd still make it back for your bus. About 45 minutes round trip if you're moving fast.